Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking beyond just the concrete and steel of commercial real estate.
Yeah, we're thinking about its heartbeat, really, its place within the community.
Exactly. Forget the square footage for a second.
Hmm.
Think about a commercial property as like a vital organ in the local ecosystem.
Precisely. We're shifting focus. It's not just an isolated building. It's about its role, its impact, and crucially, how that connection benefits you, the listener.
Right.
Our mission here in this deep dive is really to show you how getting a commercial property actively involved in its community can unlock some pretty significant business advantages, sometimes surprising ones.
And we've pulled together quite a bit to understand this. We've looked at how CRE shapes communities, some really innovative community ownership ideas.
And then some solid research, too, showing the tangible benefits when community is woven right in.
Okay, so let's really try and unpack this idea of embedded CRE. What does that actually, look like on the ground?
Well, at its core, it means the property isn't just there. It's an active, maybe even indispensable part of the local scene.
Not just a passive structure.
Right. It's about fostering a genuine sense of belonging for tenants, neighbors, stakeholders, everyone connected to it.
So it's much more than location, location, location. It's about participation.
Yeah.
And this is picturing those mixed-use developments you see now.
Mm-hmm.
Retail downstairs,
Mm-hmm.
offices, maybe apartments upstairs. That feels like a concrete example, doesn't it?
Absolutely. That's a great example. Some sources really highlight how these mixed-use projects can become real community hubs.
Yeah.
By offering services, maybe some recreation, all in one spot, you start seeing that integration happen. It's about convenience, sure, but also connection.
Okay, hopefully that paints a clearer picture.
Yeah.
But let's get to the crunch, the benefits. Why should someone owning or investing in CRE actually do this? What's the real payoff for them?
Well, the advantages are pretty compelling. For starters, enhanced property value. Several sources pointed straight at this. When a property is seen as part of a thriving community, it just becomes more attractive. To tenants, to investors, it makes sense, right?
People want to be where the action is, where there's energy. And I can immediately see how that links to tenant retention. That's huge.
Exactly. That sense of community, fostered by this embedded approach, it can seriously boost tenant loyalty,
Happier tenants stay longer.
which means higher retention rates, a more stable income stream for you. People are just less likely to leave a place where they feel, connected,
Right.
part of something.
And beyond just keeping current tenants happy, are there ways to actually generate new income, new revenue streams from this?
Definitely. Think about offering community-focused services, maybe shared workspaces for local freelancers,
Well, interesting.
or event spaces local groups could rent, even partnerships with nearby businesses to offer unique services on site. These can all open up new revenue possibilities.
And it sounds like the benefits ripple outwards, too. It's not just about the single property's bottom line. There's a wider local economic thing happening.
Exactly. Sources like MRI software and LISC really emphasize this. Community-focused properties boost the whole area's economic health.
How so?
By supporting local businesses, creating vibrant spaces, you're essentially investing in the community's growth and resilience.
Which, you'd assume, feeds back positively to your property over time. A virtuous cycle.
That's the idea.
Now, something else that came up, which I found really interesting, was the social equity angle.
Yes, that's a really crucial dimension to consider. Possibility Labs, for instance, highlighted community ownership models, things like community land trusts or CLTs.
CLTs, right.
They see these as powerful tools for tackling things like the racial wealth gap and promoting more stable, equitable homeownership.
So instead of just one owner, the community has a stake.
Yeah.
How does that work practically, these CLTs?
Well, the basic idea is you separate the ownership of the land from the buildings on it. The trust, the community entity, owns the land. This keeps the land affordable long term. Then individuals can own the homes on that land, but the land cost is taken out of the equation more or less. It helps prevent displacement, keeps housing affordable.
And this idea of broader access, it goes beyond just housing, doesn't it? I think Brookings mentioned investment opportunities.
That's right. Commercial community ownership can be set up so low and moderate income folks can actually invest in local commercial properties. They get a direct benefit.
Like a local co-op model, almost.
Yeah, it fosters what some call solidarity economies, economic systems that prioritize community well-being, maybe alongside profit, or sometimes even instead of just pure profit maximization.
Which connects directly to what the LISC handbook said about reducing displacement. If people own a piece, they're less likely to be pushed out.
Precisely. Community ownership, whether homes or businesses, gives people that stability. It makes communities much more resilient to gentrification pressures and involuntary displacement.
And another source, detasked community ownership, mentioned protecting local services. That hadn't occurred to me.
Yeah, that's important. If the community owns, say, the building housing the local shop or post office, they can safeguard that service
Keep it local.
and ensure the income generated gets reinvested locally, not extracted by some distant owner.
Okay, this is painting a really compelling picture. So if someone listening is thinking, all right, I'm interested, how do I actually do this? What are some concrete strategies?
Well, step one, maybe the most critical, is real community engagement. Both MRI Software and NAI Harmon hammered this home.
So talking to people.
Actively building relationships with residents, local businesses, understanding what they actually need and want. You can't serve a community you don't, understand.
Makes total sense. No assumptions. Ask first, and then presumably act on that. Offer amenities that reflect those needs, like those public spaces we mentioned.
Exactly. Develop accessible spaces, little parks, maybe a cafe, flexible event venues, things that encourage people to interact, build that community feel right there on your property.
And it's not just about the physical stuff, right? Giving the community a real voice in decisions seems key too.
Absolutely. Empowering communities to have meaningful input, especially in development projects. It ensures the project meets local needs, builds buy-in from day one. People support what they help create.
And LISC also flagged promoting quality jobs. It's not just the space, but the economic opportunities it creates locally.
Definitely. And circling back to possibility labs, using specific tools like those CLTs to boost homeownership, prevent predatory lending, that's a very tangible strategy.
And the LISC handbook just kept reinforcing the core idea. Create ownership opportunities. For businesses, for households, that seems fundamental for long-term stability.
It really is. When people have a direct ownership stake, they're just more invested in the community's long-term success. It builds a stronger local ecosystem, plain and simple.
We touched on this, but there are a couple of real-world examples that help make this less abstract.
Yes, like the simple idea of a commercial building hosting a farmer's market or local art shows.
Right, it becomes a gathering place.
Exactly. It shows how a property can be more than just its primary function. It becomes central, valued by the community.
And the High Line in New York, transforming that old railway
Into that amazing public park. Such a powerful example of reimagining space.
totally revitalized those neighborhoods, generated huge community value.
It just perfectly illustrates the potential when you think beyond the traditional box of CRE development and consider that broader community impact.
So it really sounds like this isn't a quick fix, it's a long game.
Exactly. Embedded CRE is a long-term vision. It's about ensuring your property stays relevant, sustainable, valuable, because it's truly part of the community's fabric.
And by fostering that community connection, you're maybe making your property more resilient, better able to handle market shifts.
That's definitely part of the thinking. A strong, engaged community can be a buffer. It helps you navigate changes more effectively than if you're just an isolated building.
So ultimately, this shift towards embedding CRE, yeah, it might have its challenges, but it seems to offer a real competitive edge.
It really does. By embracing these strategies, you appeal to tenants who increasingly want these dynamic, community-focused environments.
They value it.
They value it. It's about creating a place where people don't just work or shop, but where they feel connected, valued, like they belong.
So wrapping this deep dive up, we've seen how embedded CRE, integrating your property deeply with its community, brings some really solid benefits. Enhanced value, better tenant retention.
New revenue possibilities, and that positive ripple effect on the whole local area.
And it's worth remembering, isn't it? Every decision about a property is actually an opportunity.
The valuable opportunity, yeah, to build community, and in doing that, boost your own long-term business success and resilience.
Absolutely. So on that note, here's something for you, our listeners, to mull over. Thinking about your own CRE interests, what's just one small community-focused step you could realistically explore? Something to start building that stronger connection with your local area.
Doesn't have to be massive.
No, exactly. Even a small first step can start weaving your property into that community fabric. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.